So quite a few people have asked about biltong because I've been posting pictures and things. So I thought I'd do a video. This is topside, it came from Booker. I bought a 9 kilogram, massive 9 kilogram bit for 63 quid. This is 1500 grams of it, cut into slices. I actually froze this because I had too much on the last batch, and so some of it's still a bit hard. So the seasoning I'm using is a ready-made stuff that's imported. I get it off Amazon. It's a company called Freddie Hirsch, and this is Hunter's. Hunter's is the Hunter flavour is black pepper, and the traditional one is white pepper. I much prefer this. I think it's a lot nicer. This is a 2 kilogram bag, enough for, I don't know, 60 kilos of meat or something. It was 20 quid, and it tastes good. I'm also putting some garlic in because I like garlic and pepper, and I tried a little tester batch last week and it was good. So I'm going to mix these two together. That's 6 or 7 grams of garlic and 75 grams of the Hunter's mix. This is exactly as it comes out of the bag. So I'm going to mix these two together and then put them on the meat. So this is the garlic and the spice mix mixed up in a big kind of casserole dish, and we're just going to dump the meat in there. And there is enough to cover it all. It doesn't look like there's enough meat, enough mix to begin with, but once you sort of churn it all up, you kind of knead it like bread dough. It does all get covered. Sometimes I do this in a plastic bag and you can kind of massage it through the bag. But there's more of it than will fit in a bag for this. This will yield about probably 1200 grams of finished sliced biltong, and by the time you're done, depending on how dry you like it, I used to like it really dry and crusty, but now I quite like it a bit red in the middle. So I'm going to put the phone down and like rub all that together. I might have to put some gloves on. So that's it all mixed together. I didn't have any gloves, so I just did it with my bare hands. Churned it all up, everything's kind of evenly covered. A lot of people use vinegar. They'll put a little bit of apple cider vinegar in, or they'll brush vinegar on at the end, or I've tried that and I just think it makes it taste weird. I understand why people use vinegar, you know, for the acid to kill off any bacteria, but as far as I understand, the commercially made seasoning mixes have got this Prague powder curing salt in, and whenever I do it this way, the meat kind of goes brown overnight, which indicates that the curing process has started or whatever. And some people say that they get mould growing on the meat inside the dryer. I've never had that. I think it's down to humidity, and in the UK, especially when it's so cold at the moment, I don't think the humidity is really an issue. So I don't use vinegar anymore because I just think the final product tastes so weird with the vinegar on. You can always taste the sort of sharpness of the vinegar in every bit you eat. So that's it. You leave it like that, stick the lid on, and stick it in the fridge overnight, and we'll hang it up in the dryer about this time tomorrow. So it's 24 hours in the fridge to let the seasoning do its thing, so that any bacteria that's on there can't grow and multiply before the seasoning has its chance to kill it. So we'll hang it up this time tomorrow. So it's the next day, and this is the meat straight out the fridge. You can see it's gone sort of brown under the seasoning, which is a good thing. Just shows that the curing started. Some juice and liquid has come out of the meat as well, which seems to always happen. So the next thing is to hang it up in the box, and this is my little biltong dryer. It's a IKEA cabinet thing. I don't even know what you'd use this for. If you bought this from IKEA, what the hell would you use this for? It's really weird, but it was 20 quid or something. It's got a glass door, which is nice. It's got a big 230 volt fan on the top, and some air holes drilled in. There's foam, which just acts as a filter to... Oh, hold on. You could smell it, could you? So it's got some foam pinned on the inside, which just acts as a filter to filter dust out. This thing here is a heater, which I used to use, but I don't use at the moment. It turns out that you only really need the heater and the fan at the same time if it's very humid weather, and it isn't humid here. So I don't have that switched on, I just leave it. There's 2 bars at the top, and that's it. So literally there's no refrigeration, there's no humidity control, there's no nothing, it's just the fan. And the box is merely a way of keeping insects off it and cat. I mean, we don't have cats, we just got that, haven't we? A way of keeping your cats off the meat if you've got cats. So that's it. So we're going to stick the hooks in. The hooks I'm using are 2.4mm stainless welding wire I've just bent into hooks. There's a little trick to putting these in, which I'll show in a sec, and then we'll hang the meat up, and then we'll leave it for a bit. When you stick the hook in, stick it in that way instead of that way, because the instinct tells you to just stick it in like that. But don't do that, because when you hang it up on the bar, they all hang in a line like this and they all bang into each other. You want them to hang like that with the bar going this way. So to achieve that, you kind of jab it in and back out like that. That works way better. So go hang it up. Oh, I'm not doing very good at the whole camera thing, which is ironic really, considering that's what I'm supposed to be good at. And you just sort of hang it like that, so you see how the meat's hanging this way. So when you've got them all in there, you can fit loads of them in a line and they don't hit each other. Don't really want them to touch each other. They shrink obviously when they start drying out, but I have a feeling they might stick together if you let them touch each other when they're wet. So we'll do all of them now. So that's it all in there. You can see the meat's nicely spaced apart. I could actually probably fit a couple more bits in. This bit is much bigger than all the others, it's thicker and fatter. The others are all fairly uniform in size. What I would think will probably happen is I'll leave that one in a day later than the others. The other thing, if you're going to cut it all up, you can just leave it in and you'll have some strips that are a bit wetter than others. At the moment there's still some of that juice from the bowl on there, but that will dry off quick, so we'll shut the door. And turn the fan on, although this isn't where I run it. I'll move it to where I run it and plug it in. And it's, what is it now, Friday? So I would say probably Sunday I'll give them a little squeeze and see how hard they are. And on Monday I think it'll probably be about ready for slicing. So it's Tuesday night. This has been in 3 days. This isn't all of it. I've taken some of the sticks out already and sliced it because I was hungry or whatever. So as you can see, it's shrunk a lot. This here was the really big one. All the spices are all stuck on there. It's quite firm, so we're going to slice it now. And slicing this by hand with a knife is really difficult. You need a sharp knife and it takes forever. Consistency isn't very good and you always knacker the edge of the knife as well. So if you're going to make a lot of this, you need to get, well, you don't need to, but it's nice to get a proper cutter, so I'm going to get mine out. And so this is a Claessen's slicer, and it's got a really big steel curved blade, and as you rotate the handle, the blade kind of wipes across that opening and slices the meat. You can get these in the UK. There is a company that imports them, but they're like 120 quid or something. They're quite expensive. But my parents went on holiday to South Africa a year ago, and when they left they said, oh, is there anything you want us to get you in South Africa? And I said, yes, if you see a blue biltong slicer with a handle on it, get it for me. And they came back with this, and it was the equivalent of about £30. So it was dirt cheap, really. So I guess if you're going to South Africa, you can just go into any old biltong shop, and it turns out they're everywhere. You can get these from corner shops by the sounds of it. But if you want to get one in the UK, turns out they're not that cheap. So I'll set the camera up and we'll slice some of this up. So that is the kind of thing that's coming out. You can see it's a bit pink in the middle. That's about right, I think. Any darker than that, be a bit too dry. It's about 3mm thick. It tastes good. And the only problem with this slicer is it tends to get a bit backed up. So after a couple of sticks, I usually get one of these long spoons and poke it out. And we'll do a bit more. So that only took 5 minutes, and as you can see it varies because the bigger sticks are wetter, sorry, and then some of it's drier. So once you've jumbled it all up, it's a good mix. So imagine slicing all that by hand. I mean, it does take a long time. We'll see if the chief tester likes it. So what do you think? Like it? Yes. So that's it. The only thing to mention is it looks nice when it's a bit pink in the middle, like that. But obviously that will react with oxygen and it will go brown. So it doesn't take long for it to all just go brown like that. And it doesn't matter, but it looks nice like that. So what I tend to do, if I know I'm not going to eat all that soon, so I'll probably take 2/3 of that and put it in a vacuum bag and vacuum seal it. And that keeps most of the oxygen out, and then it stays a bit nicer looking for a while. So tastes good. You can taste the garlic. So that's it. Right, it's making biltong in an IKEA box.